Hello to all. During this video, we'll cover repairing a 65-inch Samsung QN800C Neo QLED 8K series smart TV. This set came out originally around 2023. This set in particular was destined to go to landfill due to a screen defect at the lower half of the screen. This defect is most prominently seen when you pull up menus. You can see a little bit of flickering, and this is due to a timing issue in the display itself. Now, upon further diagnosing this set, we find that the actual cause of this is due to a defect in the screen itself, and replacement of this screen or panel is really not cost effective. And what we do is find a solution that will mute out the cause of the synchronizing issue, and we'll take care of the flickering during this video. All right, so we've got it flipped upside down on a bed right now with a comforter underneath it, and it's a pretty cool design here. We've got these like base radiator speakers that are built into the back, so that's pretty cool. Pretty impressed with this model, other than the fact that it didn't last very long. So this one is QN65QN800AFXZA and manufactured in November 2021. So not terribly old. I don't know how much use it got before it reached me, but I would say it's an early life failure. But in any case, we're going to show you now how I pop this back off. This is what I would call a metal spludger, and there's a little corner here on the back side, on either side, and you can get underneath it and just kind of start popping. You just want to be careful. There's some ribbon cables sometimes around the edges, so you just want to be very careful not to dig in too deep when you're doing this. But basically you just want to kind of keep popping off the back here. So I'll try to get this popped up here. And it's pretty, I think, common to do it by hand as well, up until a certain point. There's some added resistance here right now. I don't know if there's some something with adhesive on the back side here, but I'm going to put the camera down so that I can look at it. Okay, so I popped a little bit more off after I turned off the camera, and I just wanted to show you kind of like what you're working with underneath. So they've got a good metal frame around the perimeter for the most part, but there are some ribbon cables right on the edge and boards, so just be careful. And the resistance that I was feeling is right in this area. I think that this foam anti-vibrational insulation was just kind of adhering to the bottom of this. And so in any case, we're just going to go by hand and just kind of pull, and you'll hear like a snapping sound as you go and remove the back the rest of the way. All right, we've got the back off it now, and the first observation I've made is it's got a lot more circuitry than I would have thought for a one connect. We're going to dive into this a little bit more, but we're going to look at the T-Con board and whether or not that needs to be replaced. That's my suspicion. One observation that I've made is they've got a generic AUO logo, which is basically one of the top 3 LCD manufacturers in the world, and they make LCD for a number of companies. But you know, the old saying that everything's made in the same place anymore kind of stands true. Now, this model is engineered and manufactured by Samsung, but obviously they are sourcing the display from another company. So, kind of ironic, but in any case, we're going to dive into this a little bit more and try to determine where the issue is. All right, well, we replaced the T-Con board and the Symptom remained. I must pause here to pay proper respect to a video that I found very helpful, made by Frugal Repair channel. If you search for Repair Hack Explained How to Fix TV Horizontal Lines Part 2 in YouTube, you should come across it. And his video is very informative and explains why this trick works. The next thing I did was unplug these ribbon cables that feed the boards that are at the lower edge of the LCD. And I determined that the actual issue is an internal fault of the LCD screen. So this TV would essentially go to the dump, unfortunately. And it will never be 100% again without replacing the screen. But while removing each one of these segments from the equation, I could see that the one that made the most profound impact once I disconnected it was this one. And the issue went away after disconnecting this. Of course, there's a segment of the screen that is black and no longer providing an image. And I've got this leaning against the wall right now. But we have no lines at the bottom of the screen any longer. There's still a line right here. You can see that will always remain in the screen. No matter what I do, that's where the defect is in the screen. That segment or that line has a fault of some kind internally. Probably one of the transistors is defective. So in any case, going back around over to here, what I did was eliminated it from the equation and found that this one resolved the issue. Next step is to remove this ribbon cable, flip it over so that you can see the traces, and essentially eliminate signal contact from these remaining rows that are circled to avoid connection. And you do that with a piece of Kapton tape. And you can see here that I have eliminated all contacts in this group with the exception of this one pin, and that didn't seem to matter in my case. So we'll put it back in here. Get fired up here momentarily. Again, those contacts are on this side, in my particular case, with this set and this particular issue with this one. Again, I'd like to point out that the screen is made by the AUO manufacturing. I haven't seen too many Samsungs with this in here, but this one is a very high-end model, and I'm actually surprised to see this screen in here. Usually, in my experience, AUO screens are used in lower-end models. At least that's been my experience again. So I'm not trying to bash their brand, but I have seen a lot of sets with defective LCDs that were AUO screens. So just my personal experience so far with AUO has not been very good. So in any case, let me power this on now so I can share with you what the results are. As you can see, when the image comes on the screen, there's really no lasting image defect with the exception of this single line. So I presented this to the customer and they are extremely happy with the results. And this is a great solution to preventing this TV from being scrapped and sent away to the landfill. Thank you for watching my video today. If you'd like to see similar content, please provide me with a like. And if you'd like to be alerted to future content, please make sure to subscribe and hit that bell button.